transcend borders, decades, silence, and generations. The artist behind this inspiring journey was more than a singer. He was a visionary and trend creator. In an era marked by tradition and shaped by the Bantu culture, he dared to embrace modernity. He brought a new dimension to the stage, the look, and the writing. From Viva La Musica to Victoria Eleison, he redefined Congolese music. Let's take a look back at the career of the man who made rhythm his empire. His name is King Kester Emeneya. Hi guys, I hope you're all good. I'm back today with a new story of artists, and the man that we're going to talk about today is an absolute legend of Congolese and African music. But before we start, as always, if you could take 2 seconds to like, subscribe and comment, that'd be absolutely brilliant. And for those of you who watch my videos without subscribing, if you could take 2 seconds to subscribe, but most importantly, to click on the notification bell so that you know whenever I'm posting a new video. I hope you're ready so that we dive into the story of a man who gave the greatest meaning to avant-garde and innovation. His name is King Kester Emeneya. Off we go. Jean Emeneya Mubiala Kwamamba was born on the 23rd of November 1956, and he's going to be born at a time that I like to call the crazy years for Congolese music, because in the 60s and in the 70s you're going to have two big phases of modernization of Congolese music. So the first phase will be with artists like Grand Khaled, I've already talked about on the channel, so I'm going to leave his story right here for you, as well as other artists like Dr. Nico or Paul Kamba as well. So these first artists are going to bring something very innovative, but as well as being very rooted in what Cuban music and Cuban rumba are. And the second phase will be with other artists and other musicians like Franco Luambo Makiadi and his Tout Puissant OK Jazz Band, as well as Tabulero Choro and his Afriza International Band. Kester Emeneya will be very inspired by all of these artists and all of this innovation from a very young age. He's gonna grow up with a real love for music and for these incredible voices of African music, as well as this incredible American stars, African-American artists like James Brown and Michael Jackson. And I'd like that you keep in mind the name of Michael Jackson, because he's going to have a huge impact on the choices that Kester Emeneya is going to do throughout his career in terms of approach on the stage, as well as singing, and particularly around his fashion choices. At the very young age of 17 years old, he's going to make the decision to do something that will give him a little bit more of experience in terms of music, and he's going to join a band that was called at the time Les Anges Noirs, the Black Angels, that was led by Lijo Kampwa. And when he's going to make that choice, he's still going to be studying at the same time, and he was actually studying, he was still in sixth form. So if you're in the UK, that's where his level was. He was still in sixth form at the Institute of Don Bosco in Kiko in Republic Democratic of Congo. And after this, he's still going to be making the choice of pursuing his studies a little bit further with political sciences and administration, and he's going to be doing this at the University of Lubumbashi. And only 4 years after joining the band, the Black Angel, Les Anges Noirs, he's going to join a new band, and this decision will have an incredibly strong and unique impact on his musical career. In June 1977, he's going to join thanks to the artist Misha Mulongo, the band Viva La Musica, and I haven't done it just yet, but for those who are very familiar with Congolese music, you would know the name and the story with Papa Wemba. This band has been created by Papa Wemba, and Kester Emeneya will join that band soon after it's going to be created. You have to know that Viva La Musica is one of the major Congolese bands that will transform the music scene in the 70s and in the 80s in Congo and all over the world, thanks to Papa Wemba and his musical innovation and avant-garde. And the fact that Kester Emeneya is going to join that band is completely going to transform his life. Kester Emeneya is going to be joining Viva La Musica as second voice, but because of his talent and because Papa Wemba is going to notice how good and talented he was, he's going to make him the technical lead of the group. And because of this, he's going to be gradually climbing the ladder and getting more and more responsibility in the band.
Je n'ai jamais été chef dans Viva La Musica, mais j'étais influent, j'étais l'oreille du chef. Voilà. Mais les gens n'ont jamais su ça. Moi, je n'étais pas chef, mais j'engageais, je commandais, je dirigeais, je révoquais même. Mais moi, j'engageais, je révoquais, je commandais, dirigeais. Papa Wemba zaki directeur, Yachiki. Maintenant, zaki professeur, mais j'étais l'arrangeur.
And the more responsibility he's going to get, the more he's going to make himself irreplaceable in the band, to the extent that he's going to be the one starting to recruit new artists in the band. And I can tell you that he's going to be the artist who's going to recruit Dindo Yogo as well as Juna Janana. For those who know more French modern Congolese music, the father of Daju and Maître Gims, as well as recruiting one of the artists that I'm still working on the video at the minute, Koffi Olomide. He is the one who's going to be teaching Koffi Olomide how to sing at the time when Koffi was still a lyrics and a songwriter.
Mais Koffi était un consultant. C'est-à-dire quelqu'un qui a mené des chansons pour Papa Wemba, qu'on ne peut pas, un parolier. Il était parolier, il n'était pas musicien. Il était parolier, petit à Papa Wemba, il a privé. Petit naïe, n'en a comme ça musicien.
And his very obvious sense of leadership, he's going to start to create lots of tension with Papa Wemba.
Grand frère propre, mais il fait trop de bêtises. Grand frère n'a propre, considéré mère mogo, père mogo, mais il fait trop de bêtises.
And at the end of 1982, he's going to make the decision to leave the band Viva La Musica. But despite of leaving the band, being in Viva La Musica during those 5 years will remain a time for him to develop his unique creativity, his unique sense of lyrics, as well as developing a crucial sense of meaning in every single song that he's going to be doing going forward. On the 24th of December 1982, he's going to decide to leave Viva La Musica and create his own band. This band is called Victoria Eleison, and this choice is a unique choice that means something unique. Victoria Eleison means the victory of God, Lord's victory, and the reason why is because he's going to decide that his music is a real musical and spiritual conquer, which is the reason why any song of his has a unique and strong meaning.
Victoria Eleison, ça signifie la victoire vient de Dieu. Et si Dieu est avec vous, qui peut être contre vous?
From the get-go, this band is going to include so much discipline, stage elegance, as well as so many sound innovation in their music. Victoria Eleison will so quickly become a real musical laboratory, as well as having so many modern, innovative ideas, a new way of recording music, a new way of producing music, and a new way of presenting what Congolese music is. And he's going to become a real example of musical independence.
Et le rythme qui se joue aujourd'hui, c'est le rythme d'Emeneya. Donc c'est mon rythme. Je suis le grand maître inspirateur de ces.
Among the greatest songs of this first musical project, you can count the song Nzinzi, Milonga Congo, as well as Ronda, and every single song of his will be a success, driven by his unique and beautiful voice and a clear message: educate, entertain, and gather.
Quand moi j'ai fait Nzinzi, la presse congolaise avait écrite et Emeneya a jeté les rythmes dans la rue et les petits de Wenge l'ont ramassé. C'est ce que la presse congolaise zaïroise à l'époque avait écrite.
But why bringing so much innovation and most importantly, while having so much success, Kester Emeneya will not only make friends, some people will start to see him as a real threat, and it's going to start to create so many tensions with different artists because these artists were also starting to want their own part in the success of innovation in Congolese modern music. In the early 19th, the Congolese music scene is gonna boom with the talent of Koffi Olomide and his Quartier Latin, as well as Mpiana, because they're both gonna boom throughout the Congo. Kester Emeneya remained a major figure of the Congolese innovation at this time, as well as being a real pioneer. With Koffi Olomide, the rivalry is very complex because I've just told you that Kester Emeneya actually supported Koffi Olomide at the very beginning of his career, at the time when he was still a songwriter, and Koffi Olomide at this time with the Quartier Latin will become a real superstar and will have so much success all over the African continent and starting to be a star internationally, starting to ask for his full independence from any other artist. So there's gonna be lots of clash on the press and all of that, but in reality, Kester Emeneya will still highlight that he does respect Koffi Olomide, even if he still thinks that Koffi Olomide owes a lot to him. And when it comes to the other artists, Mpiana, the rivalry is a little bit more subtle than this, because at this time, Mpiana was very successful and he claimed himself to be the real descendant of the greatest Congolese rumba artists like Tabulero Shoro and Franco Luambo Makadi, these artists from the 70s and the 80s, as well as adding his own modernity to it to touch a younger audience. But in reality, a lot of the music that Mpiana is going to be doing is very much structured and influenced by what Kester Emeneya is going to be doing over the years.
Ils veulent pas que le mélomane sache que celui-là, c'est... Parce que moi, je fais des recherches. Je compare ma musique à d'autres musiques et je trouve, je fais une symbiose. Et eux, ils sont là pour copier, même sur le plan danse. Koffi copie sur le Wenge, il copie sur Emeneya, il fait absolument rien. Mais quand Wenge crée une danse, ou Emeneya crée une danse, il va vite en Europe, il dit c'est sa danse. Et les gens croient que c'est lui, et pourtant c'est pas lui. C'est un petit musicien. C'est un petit. Mais non, mais il faut dire la vérité, c'est un petit musicien. Ils sont tous petits musiciens. Voilà.
But despite of all of these little rivalries with other artists, Kester Emeneya will actually say the real fight is not with other artists, the real fight is with myself to create the best music that travels, educate and heal. Heal and educate through music. Kester Emeneya is going to make this his mission through a real innovation in what Congolese and African music is at this time. At the time, in the 90s, when many people, many artists from Congo were actually choosing to follow the path of artists like Franco Luambo Makadi, Tabulero Shoro, and more recently at this time, Papa Wemba, Kester Emeneya will make the decision to create a real breakthrough in innovation and avant-garde, while adding electronic piano, lots of box rhythm, as well as programming Congolese rumba. He's gonna bring an international sound to this music all over the world.
Tout le monde copie sur moi. Tout le monde copie sur moi, même sur le plan musical. J'étais le premier à prendre le risque d'introduire les synthétiseurs, les ordinateurs dans ces pays. Et même Herald Tribune et New York Times, j'étais critiqué par le seigneur Rochereau, et qui est mon maître. Il dira, mais celui-là, pour qui se prend? Il introduit des instruments qui ne sont pas nôtres. Et aujourd'hui, c'est tout le monde qui utilise ces instruments-là.
In 1987, he's going to release the album Nzinzi, and it's going to become a real breakthrough, as well as making history while becoming one of the very first African albums being fully recorded digitally in Paris, while bringing a new sound that was so close to the American pop music. It's going to become a complete success, and Kester Emeneya, with this album, as well as the following one, is going to open a new door for the internationalization of Congolese rumba throughout the world. And remember, when I was mentioning Michael Jackson, if you have a look at the cover picture of this album and the following one, you can actually see a little bit of a resemblance with the album Bad from Michael Jackson. It is because Michael Jackson inspired so much of the music and the choices of Kester Emeneya. In 1993, he's going to release the album Everybody, and this album is going to be released through the record label Sony Disc, and it's going to be a real success and making him even more famous throughout the French African community, as well as making him even more famous throughout Africa, because this album is going to mix Congolese rumba, funk music, Afrobeat, and become such a unique avant-garde mix and do something absolutely exceptional in terms of music innovation. But Kester Emeneya did not only look around in Africa to find his source of inspiration, he obviously looked internationally, and as I was mentioning, take inspiration from Michael Jackson. And he will actually say in 1991, during one of his interviews, Michael Jackson is more than a singer. He is a real teacher of the stage. Whenever I look at his videos, it is to learn how to move, to talk in public, and to dress myself during every single show that I'm doing. And this sense of preciseness whenever being on stage, every single visual message in his videos, as well as the performance technique, he will owe that a lot to Michael Jackson. During every single show of his, he's gonna play with the spotlights, with the outfit, and make it a unique language to make music speak even louder. So he owes that to Michael Jackson a lot. But in terms of fashion, from Papa Wemba, who is one of the king of what we like to call la sapologie, this art of dressing up the way Congolese men do, and he's going to use that in a very elegant and unique way whenever he's going to be appearing on stage. With over 1,000 songs released throughout his 37 years of career, Kester Emeneya is going to talk about so many different topics in his song. He's going to talk about love, about politics, about society, about work, about God, and all of these topics he's always going to make very clear to never compromise the quality of the messages that he's going to share in every single of his songs. And he's actually going to be very critical towards other artists that he's going to target and consider as people who are being very shallow in the way they do music, because he did say that some artists do music just to make people dance without having any sort of stronger meanings, and are basically just doing music to get money from it, but without actually thinking through the actual message behind any song that they release.
Si c'était en France, on allait étudier mes textes à l'école. comme, certains, comme Jean de La Fontaine par exemple. Quand vous prenez par exemple, attendez, je suis en studio, vous allez voir, il y a les jours les plus longs. J'ai pris les textes, j'ai pris les titres les jours les plus longs. C'est comparativement à ce qui s'est passé en Europe lors de la Deuxième Guerre mondiale. Et quand les Alliés voulaient traquer Hitler, et ici il y a des faux leaders qu'il faut traquer, qu'il faut anéantir, parce que non, mais c'est pas l'exemple du Congo ça. Dans l'ancien temps, Rochereau Taboulay chantait et il ne se vantait pas. Et Franco jouait, il ne se vantait pas. Docteur Nico, c'est même le dieu de la guitare. Hein? Mais aujourd'hui, il y a des gens. Maman Betty, quand vous prenez Maman Betty, par exemple, c'est une chanteuse extraordinaire. Mais aujourd'hui, tu fais rien, tu ne fais que danser. Tu dis, je suis le meilleur, tu mobilises la presse dessous des tables, et voilà.
In many of his interviews, he's always going to emphasize the fact that he refuses to release album just for the sake of it, and if it means taking a couple of years in a studio, he would do it, because for him the quality of the musical project was more important, but most importantly the sense that he would give and the meaning behind any of his songs was much more crucial and essential than just releasing music for the sake of it.
Le mieux est de bien composer, de bien travailler, d'avoir des chansons anthologiques. Comme moi je fais quand je rentre en studio, je reste pendant longtemps en studio pour ne pas accoucher d'une souris. Vous comprenez?
Parce que les gens ils vous critiquent, ils disent oui, il rentre en studio mais il ne peut pas terminer l'album.
Non, mais ça dit que mémoire, il faut qu'il y ait un sujet, il faut qu'il y ait une introduction, un corps et puis une conclusion. Il faut que les gens on puisse avoir des leçons à tirer. Mais aujourd'hui la chanson congolaise elle est morte. Il n'y a pas grand-chose, il n'y a même pas de leçons. Hein? Vous comprenez? Donc, il n'y a que la danse, il y a... Non, mais c'est compliqué.
For him, his songs were real ways to learn and were full of wisdom, and he often said, "My songs are not just here to make you dance, they are real open books for those who are willing to take the time." And because King Kester Emeneya will always give a stronger meaning through his words, through the stage innovation, and through the general sense of his music, he's going to become extremely successful in Congo, in Africa, and internationally. And all of this is going to give a stronger resonance and recognition of his talent internationally and nationally. Thanks to his talent, King Kester Emeneya will be rewarded many times nationally and internationally. He's actually going to meet and be thanked by different Congolese presidents, including Mobutu, Laurent Désiré Kabila, and Joseph Kabila. And in 1984, he's going to have the honor to sing for the French president at the time, François Mitterrand, in Kinshasa. And on the 18th of October 2002, he's actually going to have an international recognition of his talent and of his influence throughout the world. He's actually going to be the very first African artist to ever deliver a course at the University of Limerick, which is a real academic recognition of his influence and his impact in the world music. And the international recognition of his talent is also going to be emphasized through all the incredible tour that he's going to be doing throughout the world. He's actually going to be doing the Zenith venue in Paris with Abeti Masikini, as well as being one of the first Congolese artists to sold out the Olympia venue in Paris. He's also going to be touring in America, in Japan, and throughout the world, a real testimony of his international influence. In 1997, he's also going to be performing at the huge stadium of Les Martyrs in Kinshasa, and he's going to reach one of the greatest record of attendance with over 80,000 people here to hear the King Kester Emeneya. The success and the talent of King Kester Emeneya will never go down, and throughout his career, he's going to remain one of the greatest figure of Congolese and African music. Until the very end of his life, he's going to remain extremely successful and extremely creative. He's going to be between Paris and Kinshasa. And most importantly, he's going to start supporting African artists. And I'm emphasizing the fact that for him, it was really important to guide this new generation of artists, whether they were Congolese from Kinshasa, from Brazzaville, or just generally African artists who all have so much talent and all they need would be a mentor. And he became a mentor for so many of this new generation of artists.
Les gens ne comprennent pas, c'est pas la descendance. Moi, je suis le vrai nationaliste. Donc, nationaliste, donc, on a nationalisme. J'aime tout le monde. Et puis, ce que tu as bien, les petits n'ont pas salon, salon Congo, Brazzaville. Petit garçon de compétition, Adam Brazzaville. Mais je suis un vrai Africain, un vrai nationaliste. J'aime tout le monde.
Unfortunately, on the 13th of February 2014, Kester Emeneya will sadly pass away after battling against a disease. He's gonna leave the world as he arrived, hugely talented, avant-gardist, and loved. His funerals will remain in the history of Congo as one of the greatest manifestations in the country. On the 2nd of March 2014, the president, Joseph Kabila, will decorate him for his extraordinary contribution to Congolese music. On the 25th of April 2012, during a festival that was a tribute to Kester Emeneya, 40 people who sadly passed away during a moment where too many people were gathered, started to run around in the huge stadium of the 13th of June in Kikwit. During his 37 years of music career, King Kester Emeneya will become one of the greatest African artists, and his influence will have no frontiers. King Kester Emeneya was not only a singer, he was a real teacher of what the meaning of avant-garde is all about, a real visionary artist that gave everything for Congolese music, a man who's been using words to make melodies dance. He was singing to elevate, to raise consciousness, and to inspire. Every note had an idea. Every lyric had a hidden truth. He made music travel in time so that children of tomorrow could understand it all. And even if now his mic switched off, his voice continues to resonate throughout the streets in Kinshasa, in Congo, in Africa, and in the heart of all his fans throughout the world, in a fearless conquest for innovation and avant-garde. I hope you've enjoyed that story, and I'll see you next week with a new video.